welcome to Fort Lauderdale. Middle along with my buddy Big Bad Billy Schaefer. We are awaiting the arrival of the Flame for the 2022 National Senior Games. And Bill, it's a beautiful evening here in Fort Lauderdale. It was about 65 degrees this morning, unseasonably cool, a balmy breeze coming off of the Atlantic Ocean, which is just about 200 yards south of us right now. So it's pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting. So we figure there's several groups of people that may be watching us. Participants in this event, people who know participants in this event, or people who just kind of stumbled upon it. We want to prove to you that this event can make a difference in your life. It can matter. It can change the way you feel about what happens in life as we get older, and that's what we're going to do for you this week.
Yeah, a great venue for tonight's party. We are in Los Olas Intercoastal Park, totally renovated recently, and we got a very, very special guest popping in for us right now. This is Mark Riker, who is the CEO of the National Senior Games. And Mark, you're underway. How's it going so far?
It is fantastic to have these 12,000 athletes here. We've been waiting 3 years to bring everybody together. This is the reunion of the ages, and we're so glad Mark and Bill, you're here. Our media partner, Growing Boulder, here, capturing this and spreading the word. We need more people in 23 in Pittsburgh. So we'll see you in 23.
Beautiful. We will talk about that. Go ahead, Billy.
Mark, there's so many people that will watch an athletic event like this and think, well, I'm not an athlete. It's really not for me. What does the National Senior Games do that's different than other games?
Yeah, well, the beauty behind it is they go to the state games first, and anybody can start at that level. And then you qualify to come to nationals. But I tell you, we've had people that have just started playing sports when they're 70 years, 75 years of age, and have qualified for nationals. People 50. We have a person 103 this year. And, Bill, you're going to go on the golf course and compete against them.
We'll see who can shoot their age, who
That's
comes closer.
Right. Oh, no. Yeah, that's even better for you. Yeah. Woo, all right.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Bill.
We'll
Appreciate you guys being here.
awesome.
Thanks.
That is Mark Riker, the CEO of the National Senior Games. He mentioned 2023 next year in Pittsburgh. This is a well, here we go. We've got a line dance going around us, so bear with us, folks. This is a biannual event, normally every 2 years, but because of the pandemic, this Games was delayed a year. It was supposed to be last year. There is pent-up demand for this, and as you can tell, people are very, very excited. Have fun, everybody. A party going on right now as we await the arrival of the Flame, and this is a tradition they stole from the Olympic Games. The Flame symbolizes the spirit, the excitement for life. The ancient Greeks started it centuries ago, and it still continues.
The flame, it represents life. It represents spreading the word, lighting the way for people. And what are they lighting the way for? Does this look like your impression of what you thought the National Senior Games was about? Because this is life. This is people that are grabbing life and living it with everything they got. They're proud of themselves. They compete against themselves. They want to be healthy. They want to support each other. And it all comes together in really this giant social event.
Pretty exciting. As we await the arrival of the Flame this year, let's take you back 2 years. Actually, I guess it's 3 years now, 2019 to Albuquerque, because Bill and I were there when the Flame arrived in 2019. It was a great night in Albuquerque. The final leg of the Flame arrival was Tim Keller, the mayor of Albuquerque, who carried the flag in, took it up and lit the cauldron, officially starting the games. You know, and Bill, the interesting thing is that the National Senior Games this year actually started 2 days ago. They had a couple events 2 days ago. We covered several events today that we'll share with you in a moment. They will continue until the 23rd. So we've got another 12 days of competition in nearly 25 sports and venues throughout the Fort Lauderdale area. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Just this afternoon, Mark and I had a chance to say, I mean, you can't avoid saying hi to people here. They come up, they're curious about you. They want to know who you are. You ask them questions too. We talked to people today from Vermont, from Delaware, from Ohio, from the villages in Central Florida. We talked to people from all over the country who really share one thing. They're like-minded in the respect that they're interested in living their best life possible. And it's so great. I know this sounds like a sales job, but when you come down here and you see the people and you feel the energy, you get it. You understand that life's not a spectator sport. Don't spend it sitting on the couch watching streaming television all the time. When you can participate in it, you can inspire people, you can make a difference in your life and in the lives of others too.
Yeah, pretty exciting. And we're here because we want to tell the stories, not really of the people that are going to win these events, but the people that just come to compete to celebrate the opportunity of aging. And I think you heard Mark Riker say this is really a reunion for people who are interested in health and well-being. And we've talked to some amazing people already. We will share some of their stories coming up in just a moment. But once again, we're awaiting the arrival of the flame. It's pretty exciting who is going to be the last person to carry the flame in and actually light the cauldron, and that should happen in just a few moments.
So the big surprise is somebody, maybe you've heard of her, maybe you haven't. Mark had the opportunity to interview this person before, and the story that they have to share affects every single person really alive today, because what they ended up doing changed what everybody thought was possible as far as staying in shape, competing, and advancing.
Yeah, well, let's share a little bit of that story with you, because this is breaking news. Catherine Switzer will be carrying in the flame to light the cauldron. And Catherine was just a 20-year-old back in 1987. She was the first woman to ever run in the Boston Marathon with an actual bib number. A couple of others had kind of snuck their way in the past. It was not an issue until she registered under her initials and started the race. The race organizers were so offended that they accosted her during the race, and this is the photo that we're showing right now. It became iconic when they tried to rip the bib off of her chest and get her to stop running. And she told us in an interview, I was a 20-year-old girl when the race began. I was a woman when it ended. When the race began, I only wanted to finish a marathon. When the race ended, I wanted to transform our culture, and she has done that over the years. Literally has led a transformation of American culture. She's opened the door for the women's marathon in the Olympics. She was a precursor to Title IX, which opened the door for all women to participate in sports. She busted the glass ceiling in many ways for women in business and all sorts of industry. She is an iconic woman in the history of sports in this country. She's in every Hall of Fame that there can be, and she will be arriving here at Los Olas Intercoastal Park in just a few minutes.
And the main reason she's here is she didn't just do her thing as a 20-something and then walk away. Athletics has been a part of her life the entire time because she gets it. I mean, she understands how everything about your life changes when you do get off the couch, when you find some kind of exercise or some kind of competition that you like doing, that makes you want to get up in the morning, that makes your body healthier, that makes you feel better, it really changes everything. You know, people have the stereotype, Mark, of having to force themselves to go to the gym or force themselves to go out and run. But you find that people enter these games all over the country because all of a sudden it's something that you had to force yourself to do. It becomes fun. You can't wait to do it again. You can't wait to see these other people, to see how you do in competition against yourself. And man, what a great message that is to send to your family, to your kids, to your grandkids, and everybody around you, because folks, aging isn't what it used to be. You have the choice to make it something special, just like all the people you're looking at tonight.
And I think that's why people have come from all 50 states to be here, obviously to compete, but more than that, to just feel the inspiration to be part of this community in which they support one another, they encourage one another, and they leave here, jacked up, believing that they can continue to age in a healthy way, in a positive way. And it's been really, really exciting to see so far.
Now, you're not just here as a journalist covering it, as a commentator covering it. You're a participant as well. Why would you try to cram all that in? What is it about, Mark? I mean, I'm going to have fun here. I'm not competing. I can't even imagine what other emotions come into it for you.
I'm going to try to compete. Work comes first. I'll have to see, but I am entered in 4 events in the swimming pool on Saturday and Sunday. And if we can work it out, I will put on my suit and I'll compete. But why do I do it? Because, I just love the challenge, which is why I think people are here. Yeah, it's just an opportunity to get in there and to test yourself and to see where you are. And when you do that, I think you kind of control what is the well-documented decline as we age. If you test yourself, if you gauge yourself, if you score yourself, you do less and less. But let's go back to Albuquerque, because it was the first time we covered the National Senior Games. We went to Albuquerque not knowing what to expect until I came away from Albuquerque believing in this movement more than I did when we went. It was everything that I hoped it would be. What are your favorite memories?
You know what? It was the smiling faces. It's like, oh my gosh, I talked about this with our director, Mike Nannis. You walk into the athletes' village and you feel like you're at the largest family reunion you've ever had. Everybody wants to help you. They're all anxious to talk to you. They want to know your story. They want to tell you their story, but not in an annoying, I was a contender in the old days, in a way that empowers you to believe you belong and that you can be the best you possible and have tons of fun at the same time. What would you say was your most memorable moment?
Maybe, and this is kind of a strange answer to your question. Rowdy Gaines was with us in Albuquerque, and Rowdy, as you folks know, is a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. He has seen everything. He called what may be the greatest relay race in history, 2006 in Beijing, when Michael Phelps and his teammate, won the relay that gave him his 8th medal. Rowdy was like a little kid seeing these older athletes. He was more inspired by seeing the 80 and 90-year-olds than he is by seeing Michael Phelps and others in the pool. It kind of transformed his life. And so it was fun to see the National Senior Games through the eyes of Rowdy Gaines. I guess the other thing maybe, Bill, was the interview that you did on the first night. The flame arrival ceremony in Albuquerque when you interviewed a woman by the name of Vivian Stansel. And you know her story better than anybody.
You know how we are. We're always looking for a good story. And I was standing there in the crowd, and I noticed a blind woman holding a cane. I thought, what in the world is she doing here? Maybe she's rooting somebody on. Said hi to her, and like I said before, how approachable everybody is. Vivian Stansel went on to tell me her incredible story of being terribly overweight, of being visually impaired, people telling her, no, you can't, this is not for you, athletics is not for you, competition is not for you, even working out is not. Plus, Mark, remember she told us she was terrified to get in the water. This woman became a swimmer. She said it was horrible at first. She stuck with it. People told her, no, you're too heavy. It's never going to work for you. She transformed her life, not just physically, but mentally. She found a place where she belonged, and she became a competitor. And boy, one of the most inspiring person you'll ever meet. And I can't wait to see who we're going to discover this week to inspire us just as much.
You know what? I met one of them today. We're not going to share the video tonight. We'll share it this week. But I interviewed a 94-year-old pickleball player who told us that she has overcome 21 different operations to get her to 94 years old, to get her to Fort Lauderdale, to get her onto the court, to get her competing in the National Pickleball Championship. So these are the kind of stories that we tell. A guy came up to us yesterday and said, I am so blown away by what you guys do at Growing Boulder. You've inspired me to keep going. I am a guy who is recovering from open heart surgery. I've had multiple cardiac disease. I've had cancer, and yet I keep going because of the stories that you guys share at Growing Boulder.
And you know who that matters to? We're not doing a story to shine a light on them as much as we're shining the light on us. I whine at home about my knees, my sore knees, and honestly, me too. I let it limit what I do. Everybody here is fighting through something. Everybody here has a physical challenge they've had to overcome. They've had hardships. But you talk to them and you start to believe that you can overcome anything yourself. What are these sirens that we're hearing?
You know what? I bet it is the arrival of the flame. Carrying the torch before Catherine Switzer, who we have talked about and we'll talk about a little bit more, carrying the torch before her is Brian Hankerson. And I know Brian well because we've interviewed him multiple times. In fact, we interviewed him 2019 in Albuquerque. Brian is the guy. He's a pastor at a local church here in South Florida. He's a CFO, very interesting guy who decided to take up track and field in his 60s. He's now 67. He is a multiple age group world record holder in the jumping events, long jump, triple jump, and high jump. A really interesting guy, highly motivated, and he just comes for the inspiration as well.
Yeah, and they give it to. How many times do we see people walking around and we think, could that possibly be an athlete? But then you cover the events and they're in the athletic clothes and they're concentrating and they're in the zone. You look at them in a totally different way. It's like a transformation. And a lot of the people here, didn't they have to qualify to get here? They're not necessarily the most elite of the elite, although they are here, but there are also people that have participated in their state competitions too.
It's a qualifying event, so you have to qualify, but you're right, people. There are people of all ages, all shapes, all sizes, all abilities. One of the cool things is one of the cool things that they have is a power walking event, which is for anybody. It's not constricted by the rules of race walking. It's just a walk where you walk fast, and we were there this morning, and there were a lot of people that you would not think looked like athletes, but they were experiencing competition, benefiting from the experience, and it was great to see.
It's awesome. Sometimes all it takes is to compete against yourself. We're here at the National Senior Games as it's getting ready to kick off with the ceremonial cauldron lighting. We're here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where athletes from all over the world have gathered, ages 50 and up, all the way to 103, here to test themselves, here to socialize, here to live life to the fullest.
As we're awaiting the flame, why don't we look at some of the video from today? And because I've been talking about it, and we can show just a little bit of what we did today. If we can do that, one of the first events that we saw this morning was the race walking, and this was not the power walking. This was the race. Hold me just a second. All right, we are awaiting the arrival of the flame here in Fort Lauderdale at Las Olas Park. Catherine Switzer should be here soon. And we've got an aerial of the flame arrival behind us, we think is in the view, but we're not sure how far away it is, but it will be arriving here very shortly.
It's so interesting to see this, too, as they come in where the people are chosen to run in the flame for various reasons, because of their ability to inspire others, because of their own personal stories, and because of their involvement in trying to let everybody know that life doesn't end at 50, 60, 70. You can compete. You can push yourself. You can be who you want to be. You can stay healthier longer. And you've got a great support system out here to help you do that every single step of the way. So it really is an empowering event.
We are still awaiting the arrival of the flame. It was supposed to be here a while ago, but, things don't go as planned. Mark Middleton and Bill Schaefer live at Las Olas Park at the flame arrival ceremony. And, Bill, we're going to be live here every day starting at 5 o'clock through the 23rd, I believe. And we'll be wrapping up our highlights, the stuff that we saw during the day and the things that we think might be able to inspire you.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that's a super important point. Make sure to go to Facebook and click to get reminders, and you'll be notified when we go live. And these will be up online. They will be up online for the duration. But you'll also be able to find them at growingboulder.com. If you happen to be here in Fort Lauderdale, you can come on down to the Athletes Village, where they'll be running in the Growing Boulder booth in the monitor as well. We want to show you things that will blow your mind. We want to introduce you to people who will make you feel different about yourself, about aging, about what's possible. And we think that's going to happen. Why don't you accept our challenge and check us out during the week and see what goes on here, and see if that doesn't change your mind.
We are still awaiting the arrival of the Flame. And, Bill, do we have questions of the day?
We do. That was going to be later, so I didn't have it up on my phone, but let me find it here. We asked a question of the day, which was, what is it about your sport that sets you apart? And we got so many incredible answers from people that happened to walk up to the Growing Boulder booth. And among some of them, Mark, we had a lot of archers come by the Growing Boulder booth, and one of them told us that the thing they like the most is they feel like Robin Hood's merry men, which was very cool. And we also have a lot of runners talk about what a freeing thing it is to get out there and really compete. The thing that we got from people that were participating was how empowering it was. And, they fight this too, the stereotype that as they get older, they're capable of less. But their families see them off. They come on out here and they excel, and that's a super empowering thing. So those are some of the answers we've gotten. We'll be bringing you that all week as well. Different questions and different answers to go along with it.
Yeah, looking forward to getting tomorrow and covering the events. And I think we're still waiting on some video from what we shot today. Do we have the video that we shot today that we can show these people? That would be great if we can. Do we have the video of the events that we shot today? Yeah, let's bring in the video that we have from today. The first event that we shot this morning, we were up at 6:30 and we saw a guy named David Schwartz, 57 years old. He's from Michigan. And the interesting thing about this guy, Bill, is that he was a runner. He got injured, could no longer run, and he did what many of these people do here. He adapted and he accommodated. He found a way to continue doing what he likes in a different way. And for him, it was race walking. As you see in this video, folks, this guy is not only fast, he has been the American record holder. He destroyed the field today, the fastest overall finisher in the race walk. After he was done racing, I asked him what he gets out of it, why he does it, and this is what he's told us. Tell us about the community in general of the National Senior Games, what you get out of just being part of this.
All the friends, we're family. So we end up seeing each other from event to event to event all over the world. And you see people, places, and things. You just follow the tour is what it is. And where it takes you, you explore. And you bump into friends and say hello.
Where has it taken you?
All over the world. I've been to Europe several times with the World Championships, France, Spain, Hungary, Poland, been to New Zealand and Australia. It's fun. They pick the place and I go.
Give me the big picture Dave Schwartz takeaway, because you're obviously in great shape. You're enjoying your life. You're part of a community of friends. What's the moral of the story? What can we learn about life in general from what you've experienced?
Wow. Explore. Every day, open your eyes and get out there and see things, do things. Try to stay healthy and just have a lot of fun.
That pretty much wraps it up, Bill. He did stick around. He did want his gold medal. But in truth, it really has nothing to do with that. And it has nothing to do with the records. What he really wants is the experience. He wants to be part of the community. He loves to travel. It's a way for him to live a life that's really, really interesting at his age.
How impressive was he, Mark? I mean, that guy looks like an athlete, and he was booking it out there, too. This guy, I mean, he's the best of the best, isn't he? He's really something out there.
Yeah, he was walking faster than most of us could run. He was not happy with his time. I asked him afterwards why not, and he said, these road courses are always different. Some of them have a little bit of a hill, some of them are a little too short. He thought it might have been a little too long because he wasn't pleased with his time, but ultimately he said it wasn't about the time, it was about the experience, and that was great.
Well, it's cool to see that. I'm the one that's been talking about, it doesn't take a lot to get involved, but here's a guy who's an intense competitor, great at what he does, and he could, I'm sure he could take on people that are a lot younger than he is and do pretty well.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that we saw this morning, Bill, was pickleball. We watched a couple of pickleball matches, and we've got some video from one of them. This is something that I want to share with you. This is a woman by the name of Chris Powers. She is 65 years old. She won the U.S. Open in her age group just a couple of weeks ago in Naples. So she's the best in the country, in the fastest growing sport in the country. And afterwards, we asked her why she comes and what she gets out of pickleball. And it was interesting, Bill. It was sad. As soon as I said, why are you here? Her eyes welled up with tears. And she said, I'm here because my husband died in January. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to find my way forward. But it's the pickleball community, the family of pickleball, that makes me feel like I can keep moving forward. So I compete as much as I can. And although I'm sad and I dedicate every match to my late husband, it is the pickleball community. It is this sport, this game, this event that's kept me going. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, to me, it's mind-blowing that, you know, you think you turn to your family, and I'm sure she did, but it's the community of people that share passion with her that are the ones that are pulling her through and showing her that there's a way forward after loss. You know, we all need a series of communities, family, friends, people who share the same beliefs and interests that we have. And boy, there's a great example of how she's going to get through this, and she's going to be fine because of a game like pickleball.
Amen. Where is the flame? That's the million-dollar question right now. It's got to be here soon. We're going to take a short break. We will be back with a flame arrival in just a moment. We are back live at Los Olas Park in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We have been anxiously, patiently, frustratingly awaiting the arrival of the Flame to officially start the 2022 National Senior Games. And if you look in the monitor behind us, that is Catherine Switzer. with the flame aloft. She came on a boat at the Intercoastal Waterway, got out of the boat. I think that was what the delay was, but she is now on dry land and is very quickly approaching the park here, and she should light the cauldron, Bill, very, very soon.
More important than in other games, because it's the first time since before the pandemic they've been able to hold this event. And a lot of people look forward to this every other year, and it kind of put their lives on hold waiting for this moment to see that flame lit.
Yeah, the pandemic has been difficult for everybody, but just imagine this community of very active adults who, really live to get together, to compete, to exercise. It has put a big dent in everybody, and you can feel the excitement that they're back, they're engaging with one another once again, and they're ready to compete.
I think I was eavesdropping on a conversation you had with somebody, asking him where the senior games took him, where competition is. He started listing places all around the country, New Zealand, Japan. He's created an entire social life based on competition.
In truth, many of these people build their lives around competitions, and this is what they save their money for. This is, it's a vacation for them, a vacation where they get together and see people that they haven't seen for a long time. And as we look at the monitor, we've got a drone aloft, folks, that's trying to track Catherine Switzer as she comes in. And I see everybody, Bill, looking this way, so she must be getting very, very close. And again, if you're just joining us, Catherine Switzer is a woman who really opened up the sport of marathon for women worldwide. Not only was she the first to ever run in the Boston Marathon, she was instrumental in getting the marathon added to the Olympics. Well, that is not Catherine Switzer. We have not handed the flame to Catherine Switzer. So you can see the flame arriving now. This is another one of the athletes. Catherine, no doubt, will take the flame from this gentleman or Brian Hankerson in just a moment.
It's interesting, Mark, how much the crowd wants to see this, because everybody is flowing over to where the...
And that is Catherine Switzer, folks. That is Catherine Switzer, who is now in her 70s. She started a grassroots running movement in over 25 countries, primarily responsible for the Africans who continue to run in the marathon these days. A non-profit organization that supports women in their desire to run. And of course, we have all learned when women start to run, when they participate in sports, their self-image goes up, their self-worth goes up, they feel better about themselves, they're willing to take risks that they wouldn't otherwise. So now, Catherine Switzer lights the cauldron to officially open the 2022 National Senior Games here in Fort Lauderdale. And Bill, no matter whether it's the Olympics in Tokyo or the Senior Games here in Fort Lauderdale, it's a pretty cool moment.
Might even be more powerful here, because this symbolizes life, symbolizes grabbing life and living it to the fullest in ways that a generation ago, Mark, we would have never, ever thought possible.
No, it's exactly true. And good luck.
So what would you say you're looking forward to most this week?
What would I say I'm most looking forward to this week?
The flame is lit. Competitions have begun already. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to something happening that I don't anticipate happening, because it happens every day. That's the interesting thing about this place, is that everybody's got a story. You don't get to be 90, 80, 70, 60 without having overcome something interesting. And it's so much fun to meet people and talk to them, and all of a sudden they drop something on you that's just mind-boggling, that has happened to them, that has occurred to them, that has ultimately giving them the resilience that we all need to keep moving forward.
You hit the nail on the head. It was just like the woman that you met today who told you just asked, well, why do you do this sport? And she told you about her husband passing away and overcoming hardships. It's a great example.
Well, let's talk a little bit, Bill, about Pittsburgh 2023, because as I said, normally the National Senior Games are every other year. They were in Albuquerque in 2019. They were supposed to be here in Fort Lauderdale in 2021, but because of the pandemic, they were postponed. But they are now going to get back on schedule, so there is only a one-year break between these National Senior Games and the National Senior Games in Pittsburgh. They are coming up in July of 2023. And if you want to enter them, you have to qualify this year. You know, it's interesting, they waived qualification this year, but the games will take place July 7th through the 18th, 2023 in Pittsburgh. The city did previously host the games back in 2005, so they know what they're doing. And if you take a look at the 2023 logo, you can see that they highlighted the city's fame for its many bridges, and Pittsburgh 2023 is building upon that. They are saying that they are demonstrating how an active lifestyle can be a very powerful bridge to a longer and a healthier life. So once again, you have to qualify. There are 52 state member games in which you can qualify this year for the National Senior Games next year. If you want more information, folks, just go to nsga.com. They can tell you where you can qualify, or you can go to sportspittsburgh.com to find out more about Pittsburgh. And I promise you, Pittsburgh knows what they do, knows how to host a party. It's going to be great in Pittsburgh next July.
It's an incredible city. It's a city that supports hard work, a city that believes in accomplishment and achievement, and will embrace this organization, the National Senior Games, with open arms. And I can't wait to see what's in store for us here in Fort Lauderdale this week.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, folks. The flame is now lit. It's finally lit. 12 more days of competition. We've got days of inspiration. We've got 12 more days of stories, 12 more days of unknown surprises, Bill, as we mentioned. We don't know what we're going to find, but we do know this. We're going to share what we find with you each and every day at 5 o'clock. Just go to growingboulder.com. There'll be more information there. We're going to post the photos that we take. We're going to post some of the interviews that we get, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Check us out, folks. The National Senior Games is going to blow your mind if you do. You know why? Because that's Growing Boulder.